is Sheri McBride, and my presentation is on the cultural issues of China and business. What do you need to know to do business in China? The importance of face. This is a mix of public perception, social role, and self-esteem that has the potential to either destroy or help build relationships. The importance of developing mutual trust begins with having mutual respect for your counterparts in China. An example on the concept of saving face is that most Americans are aware of its importance but ignorant of its meaning. They assume that it means not embarrassing their counterparts in public situation, but it is just simple courtesy. An unfailing courtesy is appropriate behavior in every social setting. It is not unique to China. In China, face is complex reality that incorporates the concept of trust. In the West, trust suggests that I can rely on what you say, but in Chinese culture, if you are someone I can trust, it means that you will protect my feelings with my family and friends whom you will never even meet. You will enhance my pride when I return home. You will not do, say, or be something that would cause embarrassment to me or indirectly to them. How can you protect someone's feelings with people who you don't even know? Learning about the culture helps. It is the first step in anticipating the problems and challenges of doing business in China. Hopefully, after explaining the meaning and importance of face and trust, it will help you understand the complexity of Chinese behavior if you understand that their decisions are guided by 5 realities that should be kept in mind when interacting with Chinese people in the business world. First, China's society has social rules that direct their behavior. The golden rule: treat others the way that you want to be treated. The value placed on education, on hard work, integrity, modesty, patience, and perseverance are similar to values which reside in American culture today. Second, China is a unique brand of socialism. While they have a history of entrepreneurial activity and may speak of market principles, it should not be assumed that their view of the market is the same as that of Western capitalism. Third, Chinese foreign policy is driven by realpolitik. Asia, and especially Southwest Asia, is their sphere of influence. It is a view similar to the 19th century U.S. commitment to manifest destiny in the American West. It is their destiny to dominate this area, and they do not take kindly or lightly to outsiders telling them how to behave within their sphere of influence. Fourth, Chinese socialist philosophy is you should not feud or have differences if both parties practice the same religion. China is developing an economy that requires enormous change. They cannot afford the luxury of failed economic experiments. Their focus must be once on survival and growth. It requires a mindset fundamentally different than ours. Fifth, China is not a single linguistic or cultural society. The People's Republic represents more than 15 languages and cultural groups. An American planning to do business in China should take note of these differences, giving special attention to the area where he or she plans to operate. The business cultures and etiquette in China. Chinese do not really understand the American way of doing business, and being efficient is not as important as making relations and providing benefit for the other parties. Chinese are very modest and need a lot of smooching to sign a deal. There are different parts of China that have different business models. In Shanghai, conducting business is a mix of guanaks, meaning relationship, and hard work. Taking a Chinese business partner and treating them for dinner at luxury restaurants are common. On occasion, you should give out gifts or hongbao, which is red envelopes with money inside of it. It is important to learn Pontogu Chinese if you are going to be taken seriously. There are no books that can prepare you for this experience. Just try to learn the culture and study the language. When being treated for dinner by a person who is highly respected, You always allow them to sit first. Most important, when giving cheers to someone that is in a higher position, you lower the rim of your glass to the middle of their glass, then tap it gently, saying, "Janbi," that means cheers in Chinese. This is a sign of respect to the Chinese people. Many times Westerners go to China and see something different than what happens in North America, and it becomes this judgment and condemnation. Despite the tension, the Chinese-American pairing together holds many economic and political benefits for both countries. China needs workers to understand China and the West, so they can develop a business presence and influence in overseas markets. Likewise, America needs people who truly understand the Chinese in order to compete and cooperate. Having Americans working alongside the Chinese in China is one of the best ways to cultivate and internalize this understanding for the future. Culture might be described as the complex pattern of living that humans develop and pass on from one generation to the next. It encompasses the norms and values of a society, including appropriate ways to treat one another. It defines the natural world and human nature. It establishes our assumptions and creates the world taken for granted. The more similar one's own culture is to another in history, language, religion, and even geography, the less difficult it is to work in that society. Even within a single nation, there are regional, class, ethnic, and religious differences that may lead to misunderstandings. But when societies differ on most of these characteristics, they have had minimal contact with each other, the potential for misunderstandings grows dramatically. For most Americans doing business in China, this potential is very high. In fact, you can be certain that there will be innumerable unforeseen challenges even when there is an honest effort to learn about and understand China and its people. Ideally, someone contemplating a significant venture to China should spend time there to learn their approach to life and business. Reading about the country, watching films and videos, talking with other Americans who have spent time doing business there, spending time with Chinese nationals who are visiting or have moved to this country are all helpful activities, but they cannot replicate the benefit that comes from on-site immersion. Explaining a culture to the uninitiated words alone is very difficult. You can use analogies and adjectives, but your effort will be fruitless. Similar, you need to experience a culture to understand it. In summary, remember that a trustworthy personal relationship must precede any successful American transaction. Focus on protecting your counterpart's feelings with the family and friends that you will never meet. Read and speak with at least 3 Americans who have done business in China. Ask what mistakes they have made and how they resolved them. Investigate what your Chinese associates should consider appropriate gifts and keep an inventory of them to continually express your appreciation. Also, be square. That's an attitude in China. Lastly, there is no alternative to unfailing courtesy. I hope after hearing the presentation you have a better insight on the key points of doing successful business in China. Thank you.